Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I am here with my sister Esty again, Esty Geisinsky, who is going to, if you've heard the last podcast we did together, share with us a little bit more about that transformation she was talking about of going to from a place where any kind of compliments or praise actually felt minimizing and invisibilizing, like people weren't actually seeing her, to a place where she feels that she knows and believes that she's a beautiful whole person, a light to the world, and these kind of words of praise and affirmation are just the cherry on top, like you said. So yeah, I'm gonna just open the floor to you, Esty. I'd love to hear more about how that happened, what that looked like, and I'm sure that my audience will say the same. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I spent most of my life feeling like um, who I was wasn't enough, and I had to produce and have something to offer because just me wasn't valuable. Um, and after, I guess, once I was kind of in the process of growing up, like out of high school, I'd say, I started um, learning about all different kinds of emotional healing, and um, I'm blessed with a lot of wonderful older siblings who have always been there to guide me and take me along on their healing journeys, which I'm incredibly grateful for. But I think when I first got into it, I was still a kid and I wasn't necessarily like emotionally open. So instead, I was gonna be very logical about it. I was like, "Oh, I'm doing these things because I'm trying to be good enough, and I don't, feel good about myself, and I'm all those things." So then I kind of, in a logical way, used that to reinforce what I believed, which was that I needed to do the right thing to be good enough. So I was like, I'm gonna do this right. I'm gonna heal all these things that are wrong with me. Um, and kind of like threw myself into that. In the process, I learned a lot about myself, but there was still that like deep lack of self worth. That coming into adult life definitely played itself out in um, plenty of ways. Um, One major way, and this is ultimately what pushed me to really undergo real transformation, was when I started dating. Um, Coming into wanting a relationship, or being in a position of trying to make one happen, is kind of difficult you're when I was too afraid to even show up as who I really am. Um, so it's kind of impossible to have real connection that way. Um, and I was at a place in my life also where I was like, all these things are wrong with me, and healing is so important, and I'm gonna find someone who's gonna value that about me, that I've got all this brokenness, but I'm healing and I'm becoming better for it. And um I was showing up with that. I was showing up with, like, energetically, what that was me saying, I'm not really worthy of anything. I'm broken. I don't I don't believe in myself. I think I have so much I have to accomplish before I'm a whole person. And I'm asking you, a random stranger, to choose me for that. Um, and I had a lot of difficult situations in dating because of that. Um, and I took things I didn't deserve, and I didn't really open my heart to the possibility of a beautiful relationship. It's just like these things can't all go together. Um, and um, I think, like, somewhere through that process, I started um, learning about. Laura Doyle has a book called The Empowered Wife that I knew about, and then I found out she had a book called The Surrendered Single, which was a huge part in this. And our sister Frady, I don't know if she's going to come on this podcast, but she's a relationship coach and she's incredible. And relationship is also kind of in tune with this mindset. But basically, it speaks about how every relationship has a giver and a receiver. And if, we all want our dream of our dream guy that we want to be the giver, we have to stay receiving because there can only be one of each. There's much more to that, but basically the reason why that was difficult for me was because receiving is actually really difficult. And I had spent my whole life being giving, giving, giving. Because if I wasn't giving, what was I? Why would anyone want me around? So it was kind of like, oh, to have the relationship that I want to have, I have to believe that someone would want to give to me and accept it and appreciate it and internalize it, which was like black and white for me. And it also, in the book Surrendered Single, it speaks about how, we girls sit and talk about how terrible guys are, and then they want an incredible guy. Like you can't go believing that there isn't good out there for you and then expect it to show up. Like you have to believe that the good exists, that you deserve the good, that it's going to come to you. And so this was all like rewiring my brain. It was like even just from the simple choice of deciding to stop saying that dating is terrible and guys are horrible. And I would even kind of as a joke be like, I'm so excited to meet my husband. He's going to be such a great guy. Like, I'm just so excited. I wonder who he is. And it started as a joke, but it actually, I was like, you know what? But that is true. Like I do, my heart wants to believe that for real. And saying it, admitting it out loud was like the first step. And we also, around the same time that I was learning all this, I had a session with you that was pretty transformational as well, where I had the realization that I didn't want to hold on to the belief that I was broken and was doing the right thing by fixing it. I wanted to realize and believe that I actually wasn't broken at all. And I'm not broken at all. There was nothing wrong with me. And so all of a sudden, all of these things coming together was like, oh, actually, here's, brain, here's our new sets of beliefs that our heart has been wanting us to know the whole time. But we are worthy just for who we are. There is greatness out there that we deserve, that is coming our way. We don't need to apologize for being broken because we're not broken. And just like it forced me to believe that I was worthy because I wanted to do this relationship thing right. And in order to do that, I needed to really open myself up to incredible things happening. And that's vulnerable. You can't do that without believing in yourself on some level. And so it definitely,
if I
like,
could reflect on that session for a minute.
Sure.
I don't remember every detail, but I remember how you had this experience because in the inner wealth mentoring that we do, the inner wealth coaching that we do, it's really you. It's really the client who's having the experience. I'm just really holding space for that to happen. And watching you have this almost like bombshell moment where you were like, you saw your wholeness. You saw within your heart and within yourself that you were already beautiful. And it was this like bombshell experience of like, I don't need to like spend my life chasing some sort of outer healing. I don't need to spend my life like working so hard to fix. Cause like it was a visceral experience. And I watched you like be so shocked by it and so amazed by it and so touched by it. It was so powerful and empowering and beautiful to watch you step into that. Not only like telling yourself that belief or deciding I'm going to tell myself good things, but for you to actually experience your greatness, experience your wholeness. It was so cool. And just It was amazing, and I credit you with a lot of vulnerability and courage to be able to be present enough in your body to even go there to find that. But when you found that, it wasn't me convincing you, it wasn't Nurtured Heart convincing you, it was your own experience of really getting that that's true, and it is true. And so I'm so glad you know that.
Yes, thank you. I remember that that moment of it was just like, oh my gosh, I'm not broken. It's yeah, huge.
So yeah, so you walked into this place of believing of what could be possible and what's out there for you, and what happened. How did that go?
um yeah, so what happened was the opposite of what I ever expected and better than anything I could have ever imagined. Um I used to think I had learned somewhere along the way that if you are if you weren't really given like the right emotional presence in your life, that you will be attracted to a man who's not emotionally available for you. Um, and so in this whole process of me being like, I gotta heal myself quick, it was like I gotta be healed so that I'm not attracted to the wrong guy. Um, I mean, I think there's truth to it. In the beginning, I was attracted to something that probably wouldn't have been good for me, or at least I thought I was looking for something that wouldn't have necessarily been good for me. And then after all this, and believing that, really having this belief that there's nothing wrong with me and I'm gonna find someone wonderful. I did find someone wonderful, um, who is like the most emotionally available person I've ever known. So it's um, a huge gift and a huge, I'm like thankful to myself for the work that I did, because I don't, I wouldn't have been able to receive so much giving that I have in my life. I wouldn't have been able to receive that without going through that. So it's like I think I would not have been able to meet my husband, to go through that process, to know that this was right for me, to accept that. Like, it wouldn't have felt safe, it wouldn't have felt good, it wouldn't have felt right. Um so that's definitely like, yes, thank you. To Hashem, to you, to Nurture Heart Approach, to myself, to like that whole process. I'm just so grateful for it.
So what you're saying is that you have not married an emotionally unavailable person, and that you are no longer. It sounds like what is well. Here, I'll ask you this question and be devil's advocate, and then we'll close with this. Are you in your marriage feeling like in order for your marriage to be successful, in order for you to be a good wife, you need to perform and be productive and be the best and be perfect? And is that kind of how you keep your marriage together? And if not, then how is the feeling and how is the sense?
Yeah, so definitely no. um I the way that I keep my marriage quote unquote successful, I guess, is by staying happy, staying grateful, staying in the belief that I deserve this, appreciating the wonderful gift that is my husband and all the things that he brings to my life. Like, that's it. That's the only thing I need to do. That's the only thing that still is on most days can still be feel like work to me, because I'll still have, sometimes the voices come and be like, oh no, you don't deserve so much and you have to make sure he knows that, like, it is whatever. Those voices, all those voices, they still come. And then I have to be like, nope, I'm just going to be grateful. I'm just going to appreciate it. I'm just going to believe that I deserve this. And like,
And what
that's
happens?
it.
What, ha- what happens? What happens when you're not productive and you don't do everything that we're planning on doing or usually do? Does he just get, angry and run off and reject you and abandon you?
No. Usually I'm the one who wants to reject myself. It's really all in my head. And instead he'll be like, I'm so proud of you for taking care of yourself and taking it slow. And I'm like, oh, I'm allowed to do that.
So beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing your story so vulnerably and openly. And I just love watching you and your marriage. And yes, your husband is amazing. I will stand behind that. And it is so incredible to see how happy he is to make you happy and how happy he is to step in and he's to not have you have to do everything at all, but if anything, to be happy to do it all for you. And I'm so glad that you're in a space where you can really allow that to be the case and receive that. And it's just so powerful to know that the work we're doing is about giving people permission to know that they are not broken and that they are whole and that they are beautiful and worthy of love and being cared for and being doted on and cherished and loved. And it's just so powerful how real this is and how beautiful the transformation could be. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. And audience, if you want to hear more, go ahead and send some feedback, ask questions about what you want to hear more about. And Esty, thank you again for being here. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.